Welcome to a very special episode of Nico Says Things. I'm your host, Nico Cuevas for Fox Radio Network. If you are listening to the podcast like normal, just so you know, there is a video version of this episode that is out on YouTube and on our website, foxradionetwork.com, and you can check that out. Just to let you know, this is not a numbered episode of Nico Says Things. That's right, this is a special standalone episode of Nico Says Things. Why do we have a special standalone episode of Nico Says Things? Well, Star Wars: The Force Awakens is out now. You can go to the theater right now and check it out, and I suggest that you do. And now the reason this is not a numbered episode, the main reason, is this is Fox Radio Network's SPOILERCAST of The Force Awakens. What does that mean? That means I'm going to spoil the crap out of this movie. We're going to talk about specific things that happen in the movie, what I think about what certain things happening means to the rest of the trilogy, to the rest of the series, even just as a whole. But yeah, we're going to talk about major spoilers. So if you are not caught up with the film, if you have not watched it yet, turn off this video or podcast, whichever way you're receiving this, whether you're receiving it from the audio or you're receiving it in the video form. Be sure to turn it off if you have not watched the movie. If you have watched the movie, I want you to be part of the conversation. Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me on some of these things? That's fine. I want to know your opinion. That's the whole point of this show. But if you've never watched or listened to Nico Says Things, actually, we talk about trending topics online, and everyone's talking about Star Wars right now. So tune in. I think we'll have another episode up today, talking about Star Wars, non-spoilers, and then we'll also talk about where that fits in the list of top films of 2015. So yes, last warning, if you have not seen Star Wars: The Force Awakens, turn off the video. Spoilers start now. So we have Star Wars: The Force Awakens. I can't believe it's out. The crazy thing, if you don't know, I actually got with a group of friends and we rented out a theater for ourselves. There's about I think 18 of us total, and we went out and we had the theater to ourselves to watch Star Wars: The Force Awakens. Oh man, it was a blast. The movie's great. You can actually go right now to our YouTube page, go to our website, go to our Facebook, go to Twitter at Fox Radio Network. You can find my reaction. I went from the theater straight here and filmed my reaction of the movie. And it's a really funny video, in my opinion. I just think I kind of lose my mind a little bit. I'm a little bit more calm and collected for things like this, so it was fun to kind of just be goofy and let it all out. And so now we're going to talk about specific things from the film. And so let's just start from the very beginning. I mean, when the Lucasfilms kind of logo popped up, I stuck my arms up in the air. I was so excited. The opening crawl of the film, it was really good. Like that's, if you remember in like the Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones and Revenge of the Sith, those were the prequels, episode 1, 2, and 3 of Star Wars. The crawls were so convoluted. I had no idea what was going on, even though the purpose of the crawl is to give you an explanation of what's happening in the universe. So that way you have some sort of context of what's going on in the film. And there's always so much talk about trade negotiations and politics and votes and things like that it gets so confusing. The best thing about the crawl is what we find out is that we have the Republic are supporting the Resistance. We have the New Order, which is sprung up from the Empire, and Luke Skywalker is gone. We don't know where he is. And so we have the whole thing set up of we have to find Luke Skywalker, and that is really exciting. So what we have in the very beginning, we have Poe Dameron with the droid BB-8, and BB-8 has a quintessential piece of the map to find Luke Skywalker. And so this is very much where we start to see the connection between A New Hope and The Force Awakens. Honestly, if you put both of the movies together side by side and you start playing them together, they would probably line up pretty darn well with what's happening in the film. Like almost identically. That is my biggest, not my biggest complaint, but my biggest issue with the film is I do love it as a love letter to A New Hope. I think it is very much J.J. Abrams being like, we're going to do this right. We love what has already been created in the original Star Wars trilogy. We want to pay homage to that. We want to honor that. And they do it successfully. And it's really good. So, and that being said, I'm excited for the next two films to kind of branch off and do their own thing. I think they're going to become more focused on the new characters and what they're going to be able to do. Obviously, if you've watched the film, and first big spoiler, Luke Skywalker appears at the end. He doesn't say a word in the movie, which is awesome. But Luke Skywalker is at the end, and there's just this look between Rey and Luke, and you can tell that, okay, stuff's about to happen. What does this mean for Rey's training? Rey is going to train with Luke Skywalker. Luke hasn't trained a Jedi probably in quite some time, because another big spoiler, what we found out about the story, Kylo Ren was actually one of Luke Skywalker's Padawans. He was training under him, and he kind of, he just lost it. He went to the dark side. We don't know 100% the context of that. Princess Leia talks about how Snoke had sort of drawn him into the dark side, and that's his fault. And so that's where we still get our sense of hope of Star Wars, or hope of Star Wars, hope that Kylo Ren can come back to the light and come back to the good side. But Kylo Ren, obviously, a really troubled character. And I said this in my reaction, if you have not seen it yet, I do believe, in my opinion, I think Kylo Ren might be the greatest Star Wars villain of all time, at least in regards to the films. He's just, I don't know, he has the ability to kind of just be this unhinged character, this unpredictable character, because there is a sense of goodness in him somewhere. Even whenever he's at his worst, which is worst is obviously being, and now this is the biggest spoiler, killing Han Solo, who is his father. And so, and just to, I don't know, I don't know where I want to go with this right now, but Kylo is easily, that's when he's at his darkest, but there's still just something about him that you still want to hope for him. And that's really exciting that we're going to get more films of Kylo Ren being this monster, this horrible person, being someone who can't control his anger. The big difference between him and Darth Vader, one, Darth Vader being much more powerful than Kylo Ren, and that's being Kylo Ren's biggest insecurity. Darth Vader is easily, Darth Vader is very much more calm, cool, and collected. He's able to kind of do things calmly and think them through, still be an awful person, but be mechanical about things. Kylo Ren, he can't do that. Sometimes he's like, hey, we don't need to destroy things. If we can bring it in alive, we need to bring things in alive. But that is for a selfish reason. That is for his obsession with his grandfather and Anakin Skywalker. He wants to become the next Vader. And so, but at the same time, he has so many, he has the inability to control his rage, and we see that with how he attacks and destroys things with his lightsaber when he's upset. Like, he's just so mad all the time, which actually brings on a lot of really great comedic moments. I love at one point when they tell Kylo Ren that the droid has gotten away with Rey and Finn, and he starts destroying things with the lightsaber, and you see the shot goes out to the hallway, and there's stormtroopers walking around the corner, and one stops them because they see the sparks and they can hear Kylo Ren going off, and they just turn around. It was so, like, that moments like that had me laughing throughout this whole film, and there's so many moments like that. The first time, not the first time we ever hear Poe Dameron talk, but the first time he ever talks to Kylo Ren, it's really funny, Poe's been captured. He's sitting down there. Kylo Ren gets up in his face, and Poe is just like, "Do you talk or I talk? I don't. How does this work?" And it's just, I love Poe Dameron is a really cool character. I got the Shattered Dimensions, or no, it's not Shattered Dimensions, Shattered Empire comic book, or graphic novel, and it's really funny to see because like Poe Dameron is the son of two really great warriors who fought at Endor and at the Death Star in Return of the Jedi. And so it's fun to see him. He kind of just grew up in that war mentality and grew up with these, or he had these great warrior parents. And so it's fun to see who he's become in that. And Poe's a lot of fun. All of these characters, these new characters are really great. Poe Dameron, Finn, Rey, BB-8, Kylo Ren, they're all actually really enjoyable characters. Poe and Finn have a really fun relationship, this kind of fun bond of necessity of needing each other, which is, I love the bit where Finn and Poe are like, or Poe's like, or Finn is like, I got to get out of here, or we have to get you out of here. And Poe's like, oh, you need a pilot to get out. He's like, yeah, I can't fly. And so they do have this fun, playful relationship. And it's great to see them come together at the end and be like, there's something there. Speaking of Poe specifically, he is the best pilot we've ever seen in Star Wars. Also, I love the shot of Finn. Video just stopped. I have to start it again. If you're watching the video, it's black right now, and here we are again. Welcome back. Nice to see you. We had to start the camera again. The camera stopped recording. But yeah, so Poe or Finn watching Poe flying around, and Poe is just doing these crazy maneuvers that we've never seen with an X-Wing before, and he's destroying all these TIE fighters, and it's so much fun to see Finn get excited about it. He's like, yeah, that's a hell of a pilot. Like, it is. What's so fun about this movie is it is very self-aware of did the camera stop again? I don't know if it did. I can't tell. It did. Oh no. All right. Here we go. Please stay recording. If not, we're not going to do a video anymore. Anyways, yeah, this movie is very self-aware in the sense that it knows what we're kind of handling. So very much the actors are commenting on what is happening, and so we get a lot of that stuff. A lot with Finn. The cool thing about his character, he's very much this childish, in a good way, sort of innocent character. Even though he's supposed to be the worst of them because he is a stormtrooper, he's been trained to kill. There is this sense of innocence to him where he wants to be this tough guy. At the same time, he can't. He's just so afraid. And the way that he reacts to things I think are very much the way that that the audience would react to the situation. I think Finn is very much the eyes of the audience in the film, outside of the parts where he kind of puts out this bravado and is like, yeah, he lies to Rey about being part of the Resistance, and that lie is so much fun because of Finn's connection with BB-8. It's so much fun to see them fighting and Finn being like, no, I'm part of the Resistance, and he's trying to convince BB-8 this, and BB-8 being, it's funny because he's obviously a droid. It is a droid, and it doesn't know whether or not it should tell Rey these things, and so you see BB-8 like looking between both Finn and Rey and like not sure what to say, and it's so much fun. Like the moment where I really, really fell in love with BB-8, the best like moment for BB-8 was when BB-8 agreed with the lie and helped Finn lie to Rey, and Finn threw the thumbs up, and then BB-8 popped out a lighter, and it was essentially a thumbs up with fire, and it was just awesome. It was so great. But yeah, I don't know. This film is it's so much fun. It is very similar to A New Hope. I mean, there's so much to talk about. Here are my notes. A lot of a really funny thing, there's a bit where Rey starts kind of showing her powers, and she starts trying to do a force mind trick with one of the stormtroopers. And what's funny is that stormtrooper that's like, I will drop my weapon now, was actually Daniel Craig, who is in James Bond Inspector, and or who was in James Bond, who's in Skyfall and Casino Royale, Quantum of Solace, Spectre, which is really funny. And that's one really cool thing about watching this movie is everywhere you look, there's someone that you know playing really small roles, and that just shows how passionate everyone is and how much everyone wants to be part of history and be a part of it. And that shows how much everyone believes in what JJ is doing. And to talk on it in sort of as a whole, the one big difference between A New Hope and the rest of the films is very much. I was trying to figure out who was who. Like, who was the Han Solo trope or prototype? Who was the Princess Leia? Who was Luke Skywalker? Kind of thing. And there wasn't that as much in the film, which is really exciting to not have that, considering that it is so much like the other films. But Rey is very much the Luke Skywalker type, but she also is very much the Han Solo type. And Finn and Poe having a lot more Han Solo than anyone else in him. Finn, I really think if there's one character in here that we haven't seen other than Kylo Ren, I think Kylo Ren is I think Kylo Ren and Finn are probably the most unique characters in the Star Wars universe. They're the ones I'm really the most excited about. I'm excited for Rey to become this really awesome Jedi Knight. It's gonna happen. She's so powerful. Kylo Ren has had some training, and Rey has had to learn how to fight to defend herself, but she's never had Jedi training. She shouldn't be able to fight Kylo Ren and it work out, but it does. And that shows how strong the Force is with her. She is going to be maybe even more powerful than Luke ever was, maybe more powerful than Vader even was. We still also don't know who her family is. The strange thing is, I always thought that it was going to be that Kylo Ren and Rey were brother and sister, but they never mentioned that. And I think if Leia and Han had a daughter, they would have known about it and they would have heard about it. So we don't know where Rey comes from. I still think there might be a possibility that she's Han and Leia's daughter, but they never brought it up. So I don't think that's a thing. So that means, who the crap are Rey's parents? Who is she related to? We kind of get a little, not a hint, but we see a little segment in that dream sequence of her as a little girl telling her parents to come back. We see a ship. I don't know what kind of ship it was, but she's someone's daughter. She's someone important's daughter, I feel like. Someone left her there, and if that's never answered, that's going to be a really interesting take. But I really do think that there's something there. Kylo Ren is going to be a really fun villain throughout the next trilogy. Snoke is interesting. Snoke and what's her name? Lupita Nyong'o's character. They were probably my least favorite parts of the movie. Not their performance. Andy Serkis and Lupita Nyong'o did great, but they were the most heavily CGI'd characters in a movie where they're using a lot of practical effects, and it's kind of a bummer to see them, and they kind of pull you out of it. Yeah, I don't know. They're really great characters. Lupita Nyong'o very much kind of being a Yoda-esque character in the film, especially to Rey. I don't know, they were kind of a bit of a bummer. I'm excited to see what Snoke ends up being and what his training is for Kylo Ren. And I love that Kylo Ren has the Tyrion Lannister scar across his face now from the lightsaber. And so it's going to be fun to see him become fully evil, and if he ever becomes fully evil. Speaking of, okay, so we're about 20 minutes in. We're probably about to wrap up. Actually, the biggest spoiler that we have, and we've probably talked about it already, but Han Solo dying. As soon as I knew that this was the A New Hope kind of formula for a film, I've always suspected that Han Solo was going to die in this film. I always kind of felt like that was going to happen. But when Kylo Ren sensed Han Solo being on the planet, I said, "Oh no, this is Obi-Wan trying to remove the tractor beam so that way they could escape the Death Star in A New Hope, and he's going to die in a similar way." And they accomplish it in such a beautiful and heart-wrenching way, because when we see Obi-Wan die in A New Hope, it is a very emotional moment, but we don't have that past and that connection with them. Han Solo has always been my favorite Star Wars character. It's always been Han Solo, and then I love Indiana Jones. I just love Harrison Ford. And when Kylo Ren sensed Han Solo being there, I kind of laid my head down because I was just preparing myself emotionally for it, and I started shaking. And when it happened, when he actually died, and when he's kind of, but even before that, whenever he's talking to his son and pleading to his son to come back and to come home, I started crying like really, really hard. Like it was pretty vicious. And like even now I'm getting a little emotional thinking about it. And gosh, if they would have lingered on that, if they sat on that, I would have left the movie theater so depressed. But the really cool thing about Star Wars is it doesn't linger on stuff, and it just keeps on moving forward. But it doesn't forget Han. Han's going to be around, not as a Force ghost, I don't think, but he's always going to be there in spirit. And I think, I don't know, like I might get teary eyed right now. Like seriously, no, but it was such a bummer, and I can't believe that this movie was amazing. We're gonna do our about to record our top movies of 2015, and it's not our movie of the year officially, but I mean it is probably my favorite movie of the year personally. And that's just the Star Wars fan in me. This was a really great first attempt for J.J. Abrams in the Star Wars world, and I can't wait to see more. BB-8's awesome. I'm wearing a Christmas sweater of BB-8, if you can see that if you're watching the video. But yeah, we got a lot more Star Wars content coming to you, so thank you for watching the spoiler cast. I hope you enjoyed the movie. I'm going to go watch it again probably a couple of times this weekend. Really excited for that. Let me check my list if I have anything else that I wanted to bring up. Can't see anything that I didn't really bring up. One thing about Finn, I think the cool thing about him being kind of a childish character, he is very quick to care for people, and I think a lot of that has to do with his being raised as a stormtrooper, being raised in this really kind of cold kind of atmosphere, and not having that compassion. And so whenever he meets Rey, he really grows super attached to her, and he grows really attached to Han. Even though he tries to run away at one point, he's definitely this character who is looking just to be loved and looking to be able to love someone. With that being said, I don't think the romantic, the romance, I don't think was forced in the movie. If there is any, like, it could very much be a romance between Rey and Finn, or it couldn't be. It could easily not have that at all. Like, it could just be a really close friendship. And I love that it wasn't this forced, like, care about this couple the way that you care about Han and Leia. And I really don't care about so much them as a romantic group, but I care about them as a set of friends, and I'm really excited for that. Good job, John Boyega. You killed it, man. Big fan of John Boyega. Funny, another thing that another person I'm a big fan of in this film, or two people. If you've seen The Raid 2, which is one of the best action movies in the past couple of years, go see it. It's on. You can get it on Amazon and stuff like that. The two stars of that movie were announced that they were in Star Wars, and I was like, oh, cool. We're gonna have some kung fu lightsaber action. And they're just the people that try to capture Han Solo and they die because of that dumb monster that they release. And it's just so funny that like that once again shows how they can get whoever they want in these movies to do the smallest of roles, and people will be happy to do it. But yeah, the most important thing is Star Wars feels like Star Wars. The Force Awakens feels like Star Wars, and it feels great to have great Star Wars movie again. We haven't had one in so long, and I don't know. I'm like so excited to see what's to come. I'm so excited to see who Rey becomes, who Finn becomes, who Poe becomes. Poe's going to become probably one of the biggest leaders of the Resistance. I wouldn't be surprised. I wouldn't be surprised if he kind of takes Leia's spot. And the one big question is what happens to Finn. Finn is hurt at the end of the movie, trying to fight Kylo Ren. We don't know what kind of condition he'll be in when he's done, and we don't know where he's going to go. Is he going to continue to fight with the Resistance? Is he going to do some freelance stuff? Who knows what's going to happen? Rey is obviously on the arc to become the next kind of Jedi Knight with Luke Skywalker. Yeah, there's a lot of really great questions, that come up, and I cannot wait for the next movie. Luckily, we have Rogue One coming out next year, which won't be connected to this film at all. It'll be a standalone Star Wars film, but I'm just so excited. Star Wars is great again, and Deuce's prequels, those were garbage. But we forgive you now. We can forgive the prequels because this movie was so amazing. Anyways, that is it for this episode of Nico Says Things. Welcome. Thank you for listening to our spoiler cast. If you want to listen to more episodes, check out foxradionetwork.com/Nico Says Things. We talk about everything on this show. Oh man, the screensaver went on behind me. I didn't even realize that. Anyways, thank you for joining us. I'm so excited to go see Star Wars again. I will see you guys next time. Take it easy.